spoke about getting up and going. Now the interesting part about getting up and going is that that's your permission basically. You need permission to get up and go. So today or for the next 3 days we're going to talk about that whole aspect of the permission. So first, before you actually do anything at all, when you say get up and go, yeah, you have all this zeal, to go wherever it is you actually believe that you should go. But what I'm here to tell you today is pause for a little bit, hold up, and just try to identify exactly where you're supposed to go. Because the question then comes to mind, yes, you want to get up and go, but who are you going to? Where are you going? When are you going? And what are you going to do? So that's basically what we're going to talk about over the next few days. Today specifically, we're going to talk about identifying the call. Now, your permission to go begins with the call itself. The call is God's instruction to us. His instructions identify our who, or what, or where, and when. Let's look at the 12 disciples, for example, right? There is no account in the Bible where a disciple actually came to Christ and say, I want to be a disciple, and he said, sure, come. He literally handpicked each and every one of them. Even Paul of Tarsus, there was the whole account in Acts where, he actually met Jesus on the Damascus road after he had been risen. And that was even confirmed further in Acts chapter 13, verse 2, I believe. That's when the Holy Spirit would have said, separate unto me Paul and Barnabas. So it identifies to us there that we must be called, or we must be given an assignment basically before we get up and go. So the go is a burning desire in our hearts, but just to answer the call in terms of where you then focus your energies, that's basically where the call itself must be made to us. Now that's not a New Testament concept. The Old Testament, even Abraham was called. We also have Moses was called when he went up to the burning bush. He had to leave where he was in Midian to actually go towards the people of Egypt to actually fulfill his call. The disciples were called to the Jews. Paul and Barnabas were called to the Gentiles. As I just mentioned, Abraham was called to start a nation. Moses was called to free the children of Israel. For us, with our goal, we may not have all the information yet, but I assure you it's there. Going back to the account in Acts, right, we're going to find Jesus leaving a group he had called and taught, and now he's giving them the authorization to go. But Jesus' authorization didn't just position them on a starting line and revving engines and just waiting for them to hit that green light to go. It actually went to the point where he says, I want you now to go to the upper room and wait. Why? Because authorization is ineffective without power. The infilling of the Holy Spirit gives you the power needed to be effective in your mission. This is why you find men like Reinhard Bonnke was so effective in their ministry. Is not just because they were infilled with the Holy Spirit, but they had authorization to go into a given territory and people group with the Holy Spirit. So that authorization and power was why they were so effective in terms of their ministry. I'm not saying that if you go somewhere by your own right or will that you won't be effective, but you won't be as effective as if you were called to go to a given people group that God had called you to. So let me add a little bit of rationale here. If we believe that the God that we serve is infinitely wise, and that we should regard his plans over our desires, whatever cause or mission which we may be advertised or popularized by any source, Facebook, the different social media groups and whatever it may be. If God says to you, go in the opposite direction, even though you may see videos and everything too much that might quicken your heart, my advice to you is go. Why? Because your obedience can guarantee you the assignment that you have been given, all the resources and anything that is needed for that given assignment is there for you. In Job chapter 38 to 40, we find God in a little conversation with Job, where God is literally telling Job or asking Job, do you know about all these different aspects or little intricate details of how the world itself works? Do you know who maintains that? And Job couldn't answer. And this is where God is actually telling us today, is that sometimes we may feel the need to go in a specific area. So you got the feeling to get up and go basically. But I'm here to tell you that before you do that, understand that God is in charge of all the nitty-gritties. So even if you feel that you should go to one given area, but God is sending you in a different direction, know that what is actually happening in the area advertised, whether it be in Africa, Asia, wherever people group you see on whatever social media, or somebody came and advertised to you that God has a plan for and a people planned for that given area. So if he's sending you in a different direction, go. Because he is giving you the authority, but you still need to wait for the power to go in that given direction. So identify your call today by sitting, praying, reading a Bible, and listening to what he is telling you. Once you get that information, wait for the Holy Spirit to infill you with the grace to operate in that given sphere of influence. Understand what I'm saying there, please? Because that will ensure that you are effective in the mission when you go. So get up and go, but first identify the mission. Tomorrow we will be picking up with this again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.